criminal cyber gang has stolen as much as $1 billion from over 100 financial institutions over the past 2 years. The gang, which has been dubbed Carbanak.
The authors of the report call it the great bank robbery of the modern era.
Their ultimate goal was to steal as much money as possible, and they largely accomplished that.
Today, we're diving into one of the most daring and lucrative cyber heists in history, the Carbanak attack that saw hackers steal up to $1 billion from banks worldwide. This was no ordinary cybercrime, but a meticulously planned and executed digital bank robbery that exposed shocking vulnerabilities in the global financial system. It's a crazy story that will blow your mind, so strap in. But before we get started, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more insane cybercrime content. This video is sponsored by Aura. Aura, our new sponsor, offers a comprehensive set of tools focused on identity theft protection. Their app can identify which parts of your identity have been compromised. We find it incredibly valuable to have a clear understanding of which specific aspects of your identity have been compromised, even before encountering any unpleasant situations, such as receiving threatening calls from someone who may possess your personal information. Upon signing up with Aura, we were astonished to discover the extent to which our information had already been leaked. Chances are that at least some of your data is already in a private data leak somewhere on the dark web, hidden in one of the illegal websites, forums, blogs, and data repositories that exist in that hidden corner of the internet. That's why people who try Aura's dark web scanner are shocked to see how much of their sensitive information is exposed just by running a scan of their email address. You'll receive instant notifications if someone opens a new bank account using your name. If you sign up at aura.com/digitalinstinct, you will receive a 14-day free trial with a discount of up to 42% on your paid subscription. At the center of this epic cyber heist was a malware called Carbanak, identified by security firm Kaspersky Lab as an advanced persistent threat or APT-style attack. The Carbanak malware gave the hackers incredible ability to deeply infiltrate and persist within bank networks for years without detection. It all started with carefully crafted spear phishing emails disguised as legitimate messages from the bank's own executives, with subject lines like 2015 salary plans or urgent your attention required. Employees who fell for the lure and opened these emails ended up infected with the Carbanak malware. From this initial foothold, the cybercriminals patiently mapped out the bank's networks and identified key employees with the highest level of access and ability to transfer funds. They used insidious techniques like recording screen activity and video surveillance to study these employees' daily work routines and procedures in granular detail. With this inside knowledge, the hackers were able to mimic legitimate banking staff with eerie accuracy during the final heists. They knew precisely how to conduct fraudulent transactions, transfer money, and even control ATMs to dispense cash remotely for physical collection by gang members. What made Carbanak so unprecedented was the level of sophistication and meticulous preparation involved. This was not a smash-and-grab cybercrime, but a calculated, long-con digital bank robbery planned over the course of years. The first signs of the attack emerged in late 2013 when a bank in Ukraine reported strange ATM cash shortages. Then in 2014, a Russian bank detected suspicious data transfers to China. But it wasn't until February 2015 that the full startling scale of Carbanak was uncovered through a joint investigation by Kaspersky, Interpol, Europol, and international law enforcement. They revealed that the multinational Carbanak hacking gang, made up of cybercriminals from Russia, Ukraine, China, and other European countries, had systematically infiltrated over 100 banks and financial institutions across at least 30 nations since 2013. Their widespread targets included banks in the US, Germany, Russia, China, Ukraine, and many more. The total amount stolen was estimated at a staggering $1 billion, making it one of the biggest and most successful cyber heists of all time at that point. Chris Doggett of Kaspersky summed it up as probably the most sophisticated attack the world has seen to date in terms of tactics and methods that cybercriminals have used to keep secret. You see, the Carbanak gang didn't just steal customer data or deface websites. They stole directly from the banks themselves on a massive scale using the bank's own technology, software, and processes against them. The hackers exploited techniques like inflating account balances before transferring out the artificial funds, issuing fraudulent transactions via SWIFT networks and banking databases, and even hijacking ATM machines remotely to dispense physical cash. Most chillingly, the cybercriminals demonstrated extraordinary patience and discipline. In each bank breach, they took anywhere from 2 to 4 months from initial infiltration to actually pulling off the heist. They carefully studied the smallest details of how each bank operated until they could bypass security like professional bank employees. And once they stole an average $2.5 million to $10 million per bank, the gang would completely abandon that target forever to avoid raising suspicion. The implications were positively chilling. If a coordinated group of hackers could so carefully and comprehensively infiltrate and digitally rob over 100 banks across 30 countries, including major institutions in finance capitals like New York, London, and Frankfurt, what did that say about the vulnerability of the entire global financial system? As Sergei Golovanov of Kaspersky's research team soberly stated, these bank heists were surprising because it made no difference to the criminals what software the banks were using. The attackers didn't even need to hack into the bank's services. Once they got into the network, they learned how to hide their malicious plot behind legitimate actions. In other words, the criminal gang had gotten so deeply embedded, studying bank protocols for so long, that they could digitally rob the banks using the bank's own procedures and technology. No security system or software was immune. In the aftermath, financial regulators and cybersecurity experts urgently called for banks everywhere to scan for Carbanak malware and diligently upgrade security systems, software, and employee training. Banks needed to be prepared for the reality that skilled and patient cybercrime groups were now targeting them directly for potentially billion-dollar scoring heists. As Sanjay Vermani of Interpol's Digital Crime Center bluntly put it, these attacks again underline the fact that criminals will exploit any vulnerability in any system, and no sector can consider itself immune to attack. Yet despite all the urgent warnings, the Carbanak threat was so insidious and persistent that the gang continued to operate and strike banks for years afterward, including another $6 million Russian bank breach in 2017. The rise of decentralized cryptocurrencies likely empowered such financially motivated cybercrime groups even further in the following years. In hindsight, Carbanak proved to be the first major wake-up call for the banking sector about the existential risk of sophisticated patient cybercrime groups in the digital era. It exposed how even major institutions were critically underprepared for persistent, multi-year attacks from crews with the skills and financial motivation to digitally rob banks blind from the inside out. In the years after the revelations about Carbanak's $1 billion heist, the banking world was forever changed. While always cautious about security, major financial institutions finally had first-hand evidence of the potential for catastrophic losses at the hands of highly capable cybercriminal gangs. As a direct result, we saw bank cybersecurity rapidly evolve with new, more stringent protocols implemented across the industry globally. Multi-factor authentication and robust identity verification became universal requirements not just for customers but all employees and third-party vendors. Software, hardware, and networks were much more frequently patched, updated, and audited. Banks essentially had to treat their own internal staff as potential insider threats, capable of unwittingly compromising the entire organization through phishing or social engineering attacks, like those at the heart of Carbanak. Annual mandatory security training for all personnel became standard operating procedure. Beyond protective measures, there was also a new, heightened aggressiveness in actively monitoring for sophisticated intrusions and hunting down cybercrime gangs like the Carbanak crew. Information-sharing partnerships between banks, regulators, law enforcement agencies like Interpol, and cybersecurity firms proliferated in the wake of the billion-dollar attack. The financial sector seemed to internalize that in the digital age, traditional robberies of physical bank branches and vaults represented only a small fraction of the threat. The real risk was from persistent, patient cybercrime crews willing to digitally case banks for years before striking from the shadows in a financial cyber heist potentially worth billions. So while the banking sector certainly learned hard lessons and shored up defenses considerably in the aftermath of Carbanak, the sad reality is that cyber heists and financially motivated cybercrime remained a constant threat that continued to evolve in sophistication, scope, and damage. There you have it, folks. The crazy true story of the Carbanak hacking gang that pulled off one of the biggest digital bank heists in history, exposing shocking vulnerability in the global finance system. Let me know your thoughts on this insane cybercrime case down in the comments. And if you want to see more content exposing the dark side of cybersecurity, make sure to destroy that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you next time.